Hello and welcome back to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode we're going to be looking at the new Morris Oxford Series 6. Hello and welcome back, and if you're new to Quarterlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, car brochures, looking back at cars gone by, memories, please consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Anyway, this is kind of like a little bit of a new episode in a way, a new series, a bit of a trailer I guess. We've never done an episode on a Tuesday before. This is a new Tuesday episode. We're going to call this Take Two Tuesday, or we might see how this episode performs. And it's going to be looking at some of the very early brochures I looked at when the channel had just started, and really I was just getting used to being on camera, etc. And we looked at this, the Morris Oxford Series 6. I had a bit of a look at it. I think we can make some improvements to it. And also somebody suggested this idea, and particularly on this one, and I think we'll probably do it on the kind of like the brochures that mean the most to me, that didn't perform that well. Anyway, I'll put it on the board and I'll explain a bit more about it. So this particular brochure we looked at over 2 years ago. In fact, it was April the 11th 2022. Really, the channel was very young at that stage. It got 187 views and it got 10 likes. So I think we've kind of like improved how we do these, and I think we can probably get a few more likes. Let's see how it goes anyway. If it does well, this video, it may become another regular episode, as well as the other episodes that we already do. This may well become another episode called Take Two Tuesday, looking at these brochures that we can do a little bit better with. This was picked for two reasons. A, someone suggested this idea, although I was thinking about doing it for a while, but also this is kind of like an important brochure in my memories, so that's why this one's been chosen. Anyway, quality first, the new Morris Oxford Series 6. Series 6 came out in 61. This is a 1961 brochure, improving the already Farina designed Series 5, and the brochure actually tells you how it's an improvement, because it's telling you this new model's come out. Buy this new model because it's some improvements over the Series 5, and starts telling us about some of those improvements. Anyway, let's zoom in on the main image. A drawing of the front end of a Morris Oxford Series 6, because in the 60s not many brochures actually did actual photographs of the cars. It was actually very talented people drawing these brochures out. The other thing about 60s brochures is they very often don't open the normal way a brochure does. They very often open in sort of like a poster style. This is another of those brochures. So why was the Morris Oxford important to me? Well, really, the Morris Oxford was the first real car I remember, because my dad had one. So in the very early days, I think his was a 66 on a D plate. So I remember that car very vividly. It also had quarterlight, I think that's probably the only car my dad had with quarterlights that I remember. So I vividly remember those quarterlights, and we'll have a look at the quarterlights in a moment. If you don't know what a quarterlight is, I'll show you that in a moment. I also remember these indicator side lights very well, because I remember a few of these in our cellar, and I remember playing around with those lights as well. So it certainly brings back a lot of memories, does the Morris Oxford. So another reason why I thought we'd have another look at this one. At the top there, like we said, it's let's say the new Morris Oxford, because this model has just come out when we're looking at this brochure, or was when this brochure came out. Tells you it's a Series 6 and then just says, that's our car. with a little bit of an image of two people kind of looking at our car. Anyway, let's open the brochure up and let's see a few more images and learn a bit more about this wonderful model. So firstly, it opens in kind of like a very sort of standard way, like a brochure would, before it starts open up like a brochure, but we'd get a really lovely side view of the Morris Oxford again. That's our car and somebody pointing. New purposeful power, new safety, new elegance. And let's just zoom in on this main image. And that's one thing that has changed with Quarterlight. When we first did the brochures, we didn't have the facility to actually zoom in, but now we can. And we can see front Quarterlight, opening Quarterlight, but also rear Quarterlights as well on the Morris Oxford. And we've got a nice curved windscreen. The back that I always remember and really liked as a kid, them sort of fins at the back there. I always really loved the rear of the Oxford. It had quite a nice big boot as well. Wheel trims, I think we had a few of those hanging around actually. I remember them clearly with that M in the centre for Morris. And then the front end. I always remember lots and lots of chrome, of course, on the Morris Oxford, as many cars did, of course, in the 60s. When these were first launched, £869 they were, so relatively cheap car actually. One of the many Farina designed cars, and Pininfarina was one of my favourite designers as well. But you notice with these Farina designed cars at the time, they all looked almost identical. So when people say today all cars look alike, well, it's not really necessarily actually a new thing. Now in the right hand corner there, it starts introducing us and also telling us how it's changed from the Series 5. So here it is, brilliant, colourful, ready for the road, ready for you, for your family. The masterly new Morris Oxford Series 6, new with more power, safety power for its famous engine, new with more down-to-earth stability in its broader track, its longer wheelbase, new with stylishly repositioned overriders and more compact rear light assembly, reducing overall length by nearly 4 important parking inches. So yeah, it was certainly an improvement of the previous model, which was also a Farina designed car. Now this is what happens with the brochure. Now it does open up in a poster style, like, and I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not, but it opens up like so and like so, so making a very large poster style. I think what we'll do, we'll start right at the top here, zoom in on some of this information and then move down. Starts by saying, recapture the pleasure of motoring with the new safety powered Oxford. So at the top here, some unusual images. One's a road and some trees, and one's a road at night for whatever reasons. But the main part of the text, we'll zoom in now and have a look to see what it says. It tells us now you and your family can really enjoy the byways, the highways, the motorways. Really enjoy wonderful motoring holidays at home, abroad. Really enjoy long weekends, long summer evenings in the exciting new Morris Oxford Series 6. This brilliant new Oxford offers you dramatic new power, safety power, new improved performance with the same amazing 35 miles per gallon economy for normal running. The capacity of its famous OHV engine is increased, stepped up to 1622cc from 1488cc to provide a surging reservoir of swift, sparkling acceleration. Safety power, so important in overtaking. Safety power, so vital in emergency. And you enjoy safer, surer road holding, more confident cornering. This remarkable new Oxford's track is 2.5 inches broader. Its wheelbase an important inch longer. And then moving down the brochure, we can see the rear, though we haven't really looked at the inside yet, but we may as well go here as it kind of like naturally follows on. It says brilliant successor to one of Britain's most successful cars, and continuation of that, that's our car, and somebody else pointing at the car. Like I said, all drawings in this brochure, like many 60s brochures are, but they're really nicely drawn. Like I say, I always loved the rear end there with those lovely big chrome bumpers and these little fins on there as well. And of course I'll see how it's badged there, Morris Oxford. This is all a whole blue example, but many two-toned, as in a white coloured roof on many of them's a bit of an optional extra for those, but we'll look at that later on. Let's have a look inside the brochure then. Again, not sure I can do this one-handed, but if we fold this down and then pull the brochure up, we can see there's lots more there. So I'll arrange it a bit better on the board and we'll have a look at the rest of the inside of this brochure. So on the centre part of the inside of the brochure, we're actually showing a two-tone or duotone coloured car here, one of I think 4. We'll have a look at the list later on, but this is going to be almond green, certainly one of the nicer colours out there. Again, a really lovely drawn image. The artists were really very talented at the time. Another look at that bit of a quarterlight there. And like I say, one of my fond memories as a child. Like I say, it's the first car I remember growing up, so I would have been very young. We had it just into the 80s, so it was a very old-fashioned looking car by the time we actually got rid of it. The Morris Oxford Series 6 itself ran from 61 to 71, so even in 1971 it was certainly an aging looking design. A high performance, safety, comfort and economy, it says here. Then gives us a little bit of a drawing of the engine. Here it is. I love, like I say, all drawings, and I really love how they've took the time to draw these little images out. It tells us the new purposeful power, safety power for the Oxford engine with new capacity, stepped up to 1622cc. The expert will know this brilliant power-packed OHV engine with its free-bearing counterbalance crankshaft, with its SU carburetor. Note the neat, space-saving, weight-saving design. Not an inch, not an ounce wasted. For fuller information, see detailed specification on the back page. Indeed, on the back page of this brochure is detailed specifications, and we'll certainly have a look at that later on. Moving down, it also gives us a look of the interior and talks about the now available automatic transmission. It tells all the benefits of automatic transmission are now available as an optional extra in the Series 6 Oxford. Borg Warner Model 35 is the ultimate in design in automatic transmission, and its application to medium-sized family cars ushers in a new motoring experience. Stepping up performance, increasing control and confidence, reducing fatigue and giving exceptional fuel economy at low speeds. Automatic transmission is not really that popular in England, particularly at this time in 61, so I don't know how many there were that came with an auto transmission. I would imagine not very many at all. Moving down, it gives us a lovely little image of the rear seat and that armrest folding down, which as a kid I thought was absolutely amazing. Cushioned armrests make such a difference, especially on long journeys. When not needed, they park neatly, giving even more seating space. We got a nice little drawing of the boot, or trunk as it calls it here. Unusually it's called a trunk in a British brochure, but anyway, quite a big trunk actually, or boot as I prefer to call it in this or on this Morris Oxford. It tells us this is the trunk to stagger porters, delight your family, amaze your friends, every cubic inch usable. Your spare wheel travels separately, out of sight below. Note the counterbalance lid. Here's quick ready access, waterproof too, but you know, I think we would expect that. Incidentally, we're now looking at the lowest half of this big fold out inside part we've just been following down here. That takes us over here to the inside. Quite amazing actually with the red seats. We certainly didn't have those red seats. I think ours was like a light grey colour. Unusual placement for the handbrake. This great big steering wheel, I certainly remember that horn on there as well. I'm sure I pressed it a few times as a kid, but certainly looks a nice interior for what is. I mean, it wasn't a luxury car. There were much more luxury versions of the Farina. This was kind of like the more ordinary Farinas, to be honest with you. But of course, I think it's the best because that's the car I remember. Anyway, moving down, there is some text talking about this interior. Tells us you'll settle for nothing less once you've sampled this special big car luxury. Sumptuous cushioning with divided bench front seats or one-piece bench seat as an optional extra. Rich deep pile carpeting, all the legroom, elbow room you need, your family need for day-long touring, continental holidays. So safe too with the special Morris child-proof safety catches on every door. Funny it should mention that because I certainly remember as a kid one of the doors opened when we was driving along. Moving along though, it does start talking about sports car road holding. I think that's pushing it. Big car luxury and quality first all through, but we'll certainly have a read of this. It tells us don't envy sports cars their special road holding, their keener cornering, their sparkling gear changes. This new Morris Oxford has uncanny built-in road grip, superb cornering qualities, especially built in with the broader track, longer wheelbase, the superb suspension. Gear changing is a joy with the Oxford's brilliant quick action 4-speed gearbox. No sports cars austerity about the Oxford's interior, wall-to-wall carpeting, bright tasteful decor, the luxury of real leather, space to waist, soft sit tall seating, wide windows, panoramic windshield, all safety glass, everywhere abundant proof that Morris put quality first into every part of every car they build. 1. Try this door for size. It's big, broad, ample. Here's entry and exit without tears, without laddering nylons, without knee knocking, without a doubt. And this is referring to these little images at the bottom here. So first little image there of that door. Then it starts looking at number 2 at the touch of a finger, draft free, cool, fresh air, adjustable quarter lights. Hooray! 1 each side, cater for driver and passengers. They snap closed without fuss. 3 flashers, reflectors, stoplights, tail lights, all housed in a new, more compact assembly, all helping to reduce the Oxford's overall length without sacrificing interior space. And of course, somebody else doing a little bit of pointing there, and even a little dog. A little bit of a caption at the bottom there. We're going to have a new Morris Oxford, quality first, series 6, and then, yeah, of course, the pointing kids are saying that's our car. Let's fold the brochure back and let's see what else this brochure has to offer. Back page specifications, which actually on the first video we didn't even look at because we didn't have that ability to zoom in. Now we do. So we'll certainly look at some of these specifications. In fact, we'll look at it all, but I'm not necessarily going to talk about it all, but you've always got that availability to pause the screen if you want to actually read everything. So specifications, it's a 4-cylinder engine, and we've kind of like had a look at that engine, now increased to 1622cc. I'm not going to read the full thing, but like I say, you can always pause the screen if you do want to read it all in detail. You certainly find on the 60s brochures they go into a lot of detail. They really do. Moving down, Starts talking about the cooling system, the ignition, the carburetor, SU semi downdraft carburetor fed from rear tank by rear mounted SU electric fuel pump. So all the details are there. Like I say, just to remind the people in the 60s were far more mechanically minded than they are today. Give you information about the transmission there as well. Four-speed gearbox with synchromesh on second, third and top gear, so no first gear synchromesh. Moving down still further, it even gives you information about that automatic. Like I say, I can't imagine it would have been very common. I don't think I've seen an Oxford with the auto gearbox on there. Brakes, brake drums front and rear, but I think we probably would expect that at this time. Gives you a bit of information about the body and chassis unit, and talks about the well-sprung upholstery, foam rubber seat covers, leather cloth upholstery. Deluxe models have leather, so not all the models came with leather. And it also mentions the duotone colours there, so the deluxe models could have that two-tone colour, no extra cost. If you got the standard model, you could still have that two-tone colour, but you had to pay a little bit more. Suspension is independent front suspension by coil springs and wishbones, anti-roll bar, hydraulic piston type dampers with arms forming upper. Suspension link, rear suspension by semi-elliptical rubber mounted springs and piston type hydraulic damper and stabiliser bar. It then gives us some information about the wheels and tyres. Rim embellishers finished to the deluxe model. Steering, it's a cam and peg steering gearbox. And then it moves on to the electrical equipment. It's a 12 volt unit. And it's got things like a double dipping headlamp with sealed beams, foot dipping switch, rear reflectors, non-glare instrument lighting, wind tone horn, twin horns for the deluxe model, flashing direction indicators with automatic cancelling control, roof lamps, lighting boot on deluxe model, ignition, headlamp main beam and flashing signal warning lamp. The instruments, speedometer with trip and total distance recorders, fuel gauge, oil pressure gauge, engine temperature indicator, electric clock for the deluxe model. Controls, flashing direction indicator control mounted on steering column, windshield wiper switch, fresh air circulation control. And then the ventilation, winding windows and hinged ventilation panel to all doors, heating equipment with heat control and windshield demisting ducts, deluxe model only. And then we get the general equipment, so safety glass all round, large wraparound windshield, windshield washing equipment, driving mirror, pile carpets with underfelt, door locks with fixed handles and push button lock release, divided bench type front seats with adjustment to suit most drivers' requirements and folding armrest. Folding armrest in rear seat, armrests on rear doors, glove box in fascia, sponge rubber protection rail above fascia, large parcel tray, provision for fitting Smith's Radiomobile radio and BMC seat belts, overriders deluxe and export model. I'm pretty sure my dad's didn't even have a radio in it actually. It tells us export availability at no extra cost, left hand drive and right hand drive, steering, kilo or miles per hour speedometer, lighting and flashing equipment to suit local market requirements, rim embellishers, duotone horn, although I'm sure most of them would have been sold in the UK. Optional extras for the basic model. Like I say, you can have that duotone body colours and heating equipment, rim embellishers, and then for the basic and deluxe model you can have that auto transmission, laminated windscreen and wheel discs. So we have selected accessories as well. This is something more you'll get from your dealer. So wing mirrors, BMC seat belts, fog and driving lamps, car valeting items, anti-mist panels, touch-up paint, individual hand tools, badge bar, fire extinguisher, rubber mats, switch panels and a roof rack. And then sadly it doesn't actually give you a colour chart, but it does tell you the colours and what interior you would have had. So black, you would have had a tartan red, so that lovely red interior, that would have looked nice. Rose taupe with a tartan red, dove grey with a tartan red, old English white with a tartan red, then maroon with dove grey, almond green with dove grey, Trafalgar blue with blue grey, smoke grey with blue grey. I think ours was smoke grey with a blue grey upholstery, but I could be wrong because I was very young at the time. But moving down, like I say, you could have that duotone, which basically means you get a white roof, so old English white. Actually, I think it may have been duotone, or I can't actually, it may have had a white roof. Like I say, hard to remember. If it was, again, it would have been smoke grey. But the four colours you could have would be rose taupe with tartan red, almond green with dove grey, Trafalgar blue with blue grey, and smoke grey with the blue grey upholstery. All right, at the bottom here, we've got sort of Morris Motors Limited, Cowley, Oxford. Overseas business, the Newfield Exports Limited. Proprietors, Morris Motors Limited, Cowley, Oxford. Printed in England by the Newfield Press Limited, Cowley, Oxford. 23118 is the code. And then moving to the far side there, this is publication number H&E 62140, and that lovely rosette there for the BMC, the British Motor Corporation Limited. So there we go, the lovely Morris Oxford Series 6 brochure. Like I say, one of my favourite brochures just because of the memories it does bring back. And the first episode of Take Two Tuesdays, looking at brochures that maybe we could have done a little bit better. Like I say, in the earlier days we were just learning and we couldn't zoom in, and I think some details may have been lost. Also, that first brochure review was 13 minutes long. This is going to be nearer 30. I don't know if that's an improvement or not, but let me know in the comments if this is something we should continue doing, looking at the brochures that probably most people haven't seen who are now subscribers, and they're hard to find and they really don't have much detail in them. But as always, we'll say thank you so much for watching, and please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. I think some people still believe it costs something. No, click that subscribe, it doesn't cost a penny, keeps you in touch with the channel. I'll also add a couple more videos, probably some of the newer videos we've done on here. And we'll end by saying thank you so much for watching. Please do come back again. Take care and goodbye.